It just feels like something I've drove. Oh, jeez. Nice. So we've got new releases going on everywhere right now. And it seems like with every new release, we get a new Furitek. But is it really new? So we're just a couple months in from the release of the Tera X. I did a full video on this thing, and I haven't really seen anybody with it. I don't know if they're shipping yet or if they're just coming up with new models. This one is the comp version, okay? So oddly enough, this one with the four-wheel steer, if you were going to run most comps anyways, if you're going to run rear steer, most of the time that automatically puts you in like a class 3, at least from what I know. So in a class 3, you're probably going to have a tough time because class 3 builds are usually like carrier bearings and crazy moon buggies and stuff. So I do feel like this comp version, minus the rear steer, is going to be a better truck, at least for maybe comps and stuff. I do feel like they fixed some of the chatter that I was talking about here. With the links just feeling really loose. I think that's a little better in this one. Still getting some out of the rear, it seems like, but the front is much tighter. So I don't know if they changed the ball ends on those links or what they did, but it does seem better there. Everything else is pretty much exactly the same. We've got the mini Komodo Unity in here. All-in-one system, so your ESC motor all in one. High clearance links, nice angle on the skid. This is a pretty solid chassis overall. You've got a lot of upper link mount options, tons of shock mount options. So I think this is a pretty good chassis for performance. I do think rear steer, most of the time on micros, I don't do rear steer because I feel like that added weight in the rear really is hard on these things to drag uphill. It hinders your uphill performance because that's just a lot of added weight back there. And then you've got the rear steering link that likes to hang up on things. So for me personally, I prefer not having the rear steer. So I do think this would fit more into like a class 2 comp and probably fare well if you're a decent driver. We do get high clearance links with this. Like I said, everything's the same as the Tera X, but I'm gonna go touch on it just real quick in case you haven't seen that video. Metal drive shafts. I do like that they put a link riser on the rear. So we've got some adjustment on the upper link to the rear there. Allows us to really adjust that angle of the drive shaft. Used to this was like down here. I kind of mentioned that to them before. And this one wasn't terrible, but you can see the drive shaft is kind of below the link. Here we are sort of following the line of the links. So that tucks that drive shaft up a little bit. Having that link riser, you can adjust that easier. You do have your plenty of mounting points up here to adjust it as well. We do have an aluminum steering link up front still. It's just in black, which I actually like better. This has the steel core servo in it versus the Springbok over here. So I don't know how this will perform. Springbok, it's an RTR servo. It's okay, but I've had them die on me. Steel core, don't know really. If you have both of these, the bodies are actually interchangeable. The mag mounts are nice. I do run into problems when I'm crawling sometimes if it takes a hit right here, like it just shifts if I wedge it in somewhere. So that can be annoying, but it's also very nice just being able to drop that on there like that. So mag mounts, we've got the same transmitter as included with the Tera X minus the four-wheel steer knob. This is a really nice transmitter we've seen rebranded several times with different trucks. 5-channel steering trim, throttle trim, rates, all of that, dip switches. So nice little transmitter included. So my main issue with this truck is just, it's so similar to the Juice Up. And if you guys follow the channel, if you're subscribed, you'll know I just posted about that thing being on sale recently for $150 for a brushless RTR. And it's a really good truck. If you've seen me compare it versus the Apex, it definitely holds its own with just barely any mods. And with this, we're getting the same axles. So it's a very similar build. I do give the edge to this chassis over the Juice Up for sure. We got a cleaner midsection, cleaner belly, better breakover. With this, you get the metal links, metal drive shafts, and a few things that you're probably going to upgrade, but honestly, my Juice Up, I still have the plastic links, plastic drive shafts, all of that. I've just been driving it like it is. I will say these metal drive shafts have like some crazy play in them. They're not a D shape that matches the like output shaft here. So you get this play in them. So I'm not really a big fan of that. You do get a metal steering link as well. And then the Furitek all-in-one system. So some people love that, some people hate it. I love the control of Furitek and having the app to tune it. I'm not a fan of these axles whatsoever. Wish we could get away from these axles. But I will try to do a full like comparison between this and the Juice Up. And we'll probably throw the Apex and some of them in there, but I already did the Apex versus Juice Up, and those are pretty dead even. So we'll throw this in the mix because it's right in that price range as well with the way I have my Juice Up set up. It's crazy how it's been like, it's actually been a couple years since I crawled down in this little spot. This is actually just right off of the main drag going up to Gatlinburg from Pigeon Forge. And I crawled this, like I said, a couple years ago. And I get out here and some of these rocks like look familiar, you know? It's crazy that we remember the formations of these rocks. That was cool. I don't know if we can get up this or not. This is very steep. We may be better off to kind of run the V here. Like straddle this hole. And try to go up it. Oh, if it falls in there, we're not going to make it. Try it. Yeah, too steep to go straight up. So let's see if we can keep a little wedge here. The key is keeping the rear tires wedged tight to where they don't fall in the hole like they're doing. That rear end's just not going how I want it to. There we go. Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. Look at that. Pretty big hole, but once we got it wedged in there just right up it. Oh, let's see if we can come back this way. Oh, don't lose it. That reverse is a little touchy. We may have to tweak that a little bit. We're probably just going to have to go down this way. Can we keep a side hill here, or will we slide all the way down? Oh gosh. Is it gonna hold? Wow. Dang, that's pretty steep. Nice little side hill.
I am just running a 2S battery in this, mostly because it's running the like PH connector, kind of like the SX24, and nice bike there. I couldn't find my adapter this morning to run really anything else, so I just grabbed one of my little 2S, I think it's like a 300 mile pack, tossed it in here. Can we hold this, or should I have backed up? We're slowly losing it, but it may save it. Come on. Yes. All right, that was cool. That was nice. Oh, saved it. I'm gonna count it. There's so many lines out here that you can almost do, but you can't quite do. And it's not the fault of this truck. It's just like, you'll have something really cool, and then you'll get somewhere where you have just this huge gap like that these trucks can't make. So you can't like string big long lines together usually. It's just like a little bit here, a little bit there. There we go. Yeah, we're not going to drive through that. Woo, that's stinking pretty good too. This is a great driving truck. You do have the upgrades as far as links and drive shafts and a little better chassis in my opinion, like I said. So I'm not trying to down this truck at all. It just feels very similar to what we've been getting for a long time. I do think, I haven't really noticed like slop as much in the drive on driving it, but maybe I'm just getting used to all this slop in these CR18P axles, because pretty much everything we get now has it. But it drives very well, very controlled. Those axles, especially with those wideners, just, they push a lot. But they do have a pretty good steering angle on them, as you can see there. I don't know if we can, yes, I had to bump that. And sorry I'm right on top of this, guys, but there's not real good places to stand, but that was cool for sure. That's a big gap there, big drop off. We made it over that. One thing to consider with this, I do think this is probably more of a comp truck than the four-wheel steer one. It just, having the Lexan body obviously saves that weight up top. we are sitting crazy wide. So I think most of these companies that are calling these comp RTRs, like they don't actually run comps. So it's like comp is more performance, is what I would call them, like performance RTRs. So spots like that can be a little tough because you're sitting wider, but you see we did make it. See, we have those crazy wideners on there. If you pulled this thing in just a little bit, you did away with those wideners, I think it would help for an actual comp, but the problem is we get those super wide shafts. So you have those shafts that are like this wide. So if you take the widener off, you're gonna have that much thread on your axle sticking out. So you're kind of just stuck with it unless you run a different offset wheel, but you're really gonna have to find something that will tuck it in. I would like to see just something really new to these RTRs from Furitek. I mean, the Unity in here is new. It's really good, but these things just feel so similar to the Cayman. Now the gearing is way better. The Cayman V2, the orange one, like to be honest with you, I couldn't drive it. The gearing was just crazy. This is definitely much more controllable, and honestly on 2S, like we've got plenty of wheel speed, punch. So I think 2S is actually a really good battery for this because you have really good control. It's not as jumpy. But you do have that wheel speed. That was definitely putting that servo in a little bind there, and it handled it well. The tires actually are pretty good on these. For an RTR tire, they're decent. You're probably going to get rid of them just because I don't like the red wheels myself. These are a bead lock in there in case you do want to keep the tires though, so that's cool. That's where that breakover with this chassis really kind of helps you. A spot like that. If we get the bite, look, I just said the tires were decent when we're slipping. Happens every time. We hold that side hill pretty good. That's a pretty good little side hill. So what do you guys think about this release from Furitek? I do prefer this over the four-wheel steer. I'm not a big four-wheel steer guy. I rarely ever run it. And I think this is a solid RTR. I think it's just a little bit high on the price. But you are getting some upgrades. You just kind of have to choose what upgrades you want, you know? Would you rather buy another truck for $100 less and do your own upgrades? Or would you rather just take this out of the box and maybe slap some wheels and tires on it and pretty much be good? That's kind of up to you guys. I did take this thing for a bit of a swim. Luckily we didn't get, I don't think it got to the motor in ESC, but it was very close. See if we can get through this hole. Yes, that was cool. So you guys let me know what you think about this one. I want to say thanks for hanging out. I want to say thanks to the channel members, as always. I think this is a good RTR, but it's so similar to what we've seen before. I think it's going to be hard to make that sale. It just really is. Because it's like, I don't know, there's nothing that really pops that makes it stand out from the other Furitek releases. So if you have those, besides like the old Caymans with the FCX axles and the Cayman V2 orange one or whatever, the control on these are much better. That V2 orange one, I honestly couldn't drive it. The gearing was just insane. But this is like, I don't know, it just feels like something I've drove. Oh, jeez. Nice. Yep, we're dead.
So I let it dry out and it does power up, and as you'll see, it's working. The problem is when I powered it up, there was smoke that came out of here, and so I thought it wasn't going to work at all. It does still work. It's just very jumpy now. See that? Before it was very smooth, and now we just kind of get, it's like it killed the FOC or something. I don't know. It's crazy that it still works though. But oh yeah, so sometimes it just goes crazy. So yeah, unfortunately we killed it. But look, we're in the mountains. We don't really care right now. All right guys, so I made it back home, and unfortunately I just had to pull this motor ESC combo from this thing. This is one of the downfalls to an all-in-one system. As some of you guys have said before, if one thing dies, they both die. So that's a $100 part basically. I did just pull it out of here, so I'm gonna try to rework something in here, but we've got these weird style plugs that I hate. So it kind of makes things a little bit difficult. But I did get this system swapped from here into here because I want to compare this some more to some of the other 18 scale trucks that are coming out right now. So this comes in at $279. The 4-wheel steer version is like 10 bucks more. For me, I'd almost pay 10 bucks to not have 4-wheel steer. But if you're a 4-wheel steer person, like, that's a great deal for $10. But I do want to compare this to like the Apex and the Juice Up. So I'm going to run all of them with the same set of wheels and tires. I'm going to put my Juice Up back to stock. I got a brand new stock Apex, going to take it out of the box, and we're going to just run aftermarket wheels and tires, same set of wheels and tires on all of the trucks, and just go back to back, line for line, and see how they do. I do think the value is definitely here for this one. Shocks seem to work pretty well. Also, that's one thing that I've noticed on some trucks, that just it feels like there's no oil in them. These seem to be pretty good. Flex as well. It drove really well. The value is definitely there. It's just we have so many choices that, like, you got a decision to make. So we're definitely going to do a this versus that, and just see how they stack up. So you guys let me know what you think about this. I appreciate you hanging around. Peace.